If you are an undergraduate student looking to recruit for consulting, this is the perfect video for you. In this video, I will break down how you could start preparing for consulting case interviews. First things first, what is casing? Casing is a hypothetical business situation that companies give candidates to test their business acumen, communication skills, and analytical thinking. It is an easy way for interviewers to assess how a candidate would behave and think on the job and is used in virtually every full-time interview position. The typical structure of a case interview goes as follows: prompt, clarifying questions, framework, analytical questions, and final recommendations. Cases may be about different industries or problems, but the fundamental of a good case is the exact same no matter what the case is about. The key details are being thoughtful, structured, and coherent. And a common terminology that is tossed around is MISI, which means mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. It's a fundamental principle used to ensure that when categorizing or analyzing information, the categories are distinct and cover all possible options or elements, which is used in your framework. Anyways, each section of the case requires specific practice, which we will outline later. So why a 5-week preparation time? Typically, companies like MBB send out interview offers mid to late summer. Big Four and other boutiques send out their interviews around August or September, making 5 weeks the perfect amount of time to prepare. Preparing too much ahead of time may cause you to run out of cases and case infrequently or even procrastinate, and casing without enough time will make you cram and feel a lot more under pressure. I found for a lot of students, a month is typically a good time to prepare as long as you're consistent and focused. That being said, let's look at how you should structure each week. The first week is pretty simple. I've advised a lot of students to do this just because it's so helpful in determining or learning the fundamentals, which is watching crafting cases. During that time, you can also find case materials and casing friends in preparation for week 2. Once you finish watching the modules, start casing once a day with a friend who is also in the recruiting process. It may be easier to ask members of a consulting club on campus to help you get started as well. Weeks 3 and 4 are when you should bump it up. So aim to case around 15 to 20 during this time and reach out to alumni or employees to case you. They'll give you a lot more insight into the ways that you might improve. And during this time, you also can try non-traditional cases like public sector or nonprofits. Lastly, polish your weaknesses. A good caser is only as strong as their weakest skill. The notes you've taken from the previous cases that you've done should be good feedback for your areas of improvement. Find those areas and target those specifically. You don't need to do entire cases, just what you need to improve on. So for example, if you need to improve on market size, calculate the market size of a particular industry or company and then Google the actual amount, and remember to structure the process. If you need to improve on communication, redo the same case and focus on taking out redundancies. See if you could get the same amount of information across within a fraction of the time. During the 5th week, you should have a relatively strong grasp of the skills required to do a successful case, because you've taken a lot of the information from the mentors and the professionals that you've cased with to identify your weaknesses and what you need to work on. At this point, it's all about fine-tuning your case and ensuring that you are confident throughout the case. Generally speaking, it is okay to make a couple of mistakes as long as you correct yourself before the interviewer does during your case. Now that we have the 5-week roadmap planned out, here are some other tips to include and what I've kind of seen throughout a lot of other students doing their case preps. The biggest one is to remember to drive the case forward. A good case is always going to show the candidate's initiative. So at the top of the paper, I've recommended a lot of students to just write drive and just ensure that they're always continuing the case forward after going through their insights. The next tip is organization. Some cases are very math intensive overall, and organizing your numbers and contextualizing them will go a very, very long way when you're actually looking back on the paper doing future questions. I found a lot of times that when I was doing cases, the work that I was doing wasn't necessarily neat. And when I had to go back and refer to like revenue or costs from previous examples, I wasn't able to distinguish those numbers, and that caused me to lose a lot of points on cases. The third tip is to structure everything, even brainstorming and conclusions. So within brainstorming, there's a lot of different buckets that you might be able to structure your ideas. You don't want to make it a list and just, ramble on and on. If you are able to structure your brainstorm into like external, internal, or customer, non-customer, this will be the best way for you to actually organize your thoughts and makes it easier to convey to the interviewer. During the conclusion, it is also important to actually structure your thoughts, as you will typically have your final recommendation, which is super high level, 3 pieces of clarifying details that support your final recommendation, the risks associated with the recommendation that you implemented, and then the next steps after your recommendation. The fourth tip is to contextualize numbers. During more quantitative portions of the interview, you might need to reiterate the numbers that you're saying to the interview and guide them through your thoughts. The next tip is quality over quantity. So, whenever you're practicing for a case, you should focus on getting a high quality answer before you focus on getting that up to speed or within the designated amount of time. Another good tip to know is you should always ask for time if you don't think you could come up with a cohesive answer. Within a case interview, it is completely okay to ask the interviewer for a little bit more time to structure your thoughts or get your ideas down on paper. So, this goes for creating a framework, this goes for analytical questions, and this may even go for brainstorming or final recommendation question as well. Anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and best of luck with your casing preparation. I will see you next time.